Hello, you're here with James and Jack for a new episode of the Sometimes Relevant, Always Talking Games podcast. This week, we're going to tell you about what we've been playing. Over to you, Jack.
So, the one that I'm mainly playing at the moment, and that would be the Lego Avengers, which is, I'd say, a sequel to the Lego Marvel in an obscure way, but it's much more based on the movies. It takes you through the two Avengers plots and gives you other movies as well. It stars heroes of Jack and myself, like Greg Miller has a brief role, as Jack probably knows. And, well, I mean, I'm not massively far into it. With work and commitments, I'm playing about a level a day. But it's a nice, easy trophy sort of setting as well, which is always handy. And it's just generally it's a standard Lego game, but with, well, some of your favourite movie characters if you're a Marvel fan, like myself. And like Jack, it's not. Lego Harry Potter was a good game. Lego Star Wars is a classic. Lego's Lord of the Rings is alright. Lego's Hobbit, I played on Vita. It's a bit dimmed down on that. But this one seems to just be, really in depth to the movie, to a start. And, wow. It used to be that Lego would disturb you from the storyline plot. I don't think the Lego nowadays does that. I think it's just a good little extra collecting the Lego. And I think the game is stronger the way where it's gone. Disappointing that they don't have the characters in Lego Dimensions, I guess, as well. But being a Disney-owned brand, I couldn't see that happening anyway. Okay, and that's Lego Avengers. I'll go on to the second one now. Second game I'm playing, because I'm the guru of all consoles, it seems, of this group, is Mario Kart 8. Which is interesting because my first experience in Mario Kart was Mario Kart DS, which was classic. I spent hours and hours and hours on that. Now, the Wii U in my house is incredibly neglected in comparison to the PlayStation 4, 3, and Vita. And it's just one of those games I'd been intending to play. Someone I knew got a Vita, got that game with it. So I decided I'd purchase that game, and well, online it's brilliant. It's good fun. It's nice. It's nice casual gaming experience. It's one that you can put up and put down. It's the closest thing to CTR I'm gonna get. Let's face it, Crash Bandicoot's not coming back, at least for the foreseeable, and it's up there with it. So. That's a game I'd recommend to anyone that has a Wii U, especially or mainly if they've got other friends with a Wii U. If you don't have other friends with Wii U, you probably lose some of the enjoyment from it. The third one is one I'm going to review in writing for our blog. That I was going on. Yeah, I was going on to Jack about for quite some time when I initially played it. It was called Big Fest. It's a game where you arrange fest. It's basically, if you remember Theme Park Inc. On the PS1 and computer, or Theme Hospital back on the classic days on Windows 98, you'll remember you just get certain challenges and you run the hospital or the theme park through the event. And that is essentially what Big Fest is, but with festivals. It's a Vita exclusive, so if you've got a PS4, it was going to come out for that. It's not now. But it's the strongest game Vita have had exclusively for a long time. Apologies, I've got a dog here who's mental. And the final game is Pokemon X. Now, I'm not going to lie, I haven't played masses of Pokemon X, but I have a 3DS, and it's Pokemon's anniversary this year, as you probably know. And a lot of us grew up with Pokemon. I don't know whether you did, Jack.
Yeah, I played a lot of Pokemon Red.
Yeah. Well, Pokemon X is the newest one. And in fairness, it's a good Pokemon game. I don't think it's up there with your Pokemon Red. Was that Pokemon Blue and Green? Were they the other ones? Or Blue and Yellow?
Yeah, well, Yellow was all with Pikachu. Red was, God, I can't remember the name of them now. Chameleon, maybe?
Charmander.
Maybe Salamander.
Charmander,
that's the one, yeah.
And then Green was Japan exclusive, but I presume that was Bulbasaur. But basically, it's another one of these sort of games. I don't think it's as strong. I'll be honest, it's not as strong as really old ones with the classic in different generations now. Although Pikachu makes an appearance and Charmander makes an appearance, it's just not the same. I mean, my first Pokemon was called Fennec, and that's a shit name for a Pokemon. It's good. It's good though. It's a classic of what it was, and I guarantee you, if I was 10 years younger and I hadn't heard of Pokemon before, I'd be looking at a game like, I love this game. But because I've done Pokemon and been there and done that, it's not as good. But it's nice. The nice thing is, it's not as good as some games. The games that it's not as good as are coming to the DS in about a week's time, I think, as a digital download. So, yeah, it may not be as good as the classic ones that you played and that I played first of all, like our Game Boy Colors, but they're coming too. So it's a nice build-up. I won't pay the full price for Pokemon XO. I'd wait until the classic ones are back because they are proper Pokemon. There's this one a bit far on. Anyway, those are 4 games I'm playing at the moment. I recommend Avengers, Mario Kart 8, and Big Fest. Big Fest is pretty cheap for anybody who's got the right consoles for them. Lego Avengers out on everything. So if you don't have the right console for that, I don't know why you're listening. But Jack, what are you playing?
Well, I recently picked up Call of Duty Black Ops 3 off Amazon. Went down to £35. You know, it's been a while since I played a Call of Duty game. In fact, it was all the way back to World at War. You know, the one with Keith Sutherland and Gary Oldman in it,
Yeah.
which is also a Treyarch made game. I've been mainly playing the campaign, and I've been really enjoying it. To my surprise, it's probably like the longest and best one I've played of a Call of Duty or Battlefield game for quite a while. It seems like they've really put some effort into it. I think it's probably because the first time they've ever done a 3-year development cycle, and it really quite shows. I like the fact they've taken time to make a progression system for your campaign, and your characters like fully voiced. You can see them in cutscenes. That's not normally done in. I mean, the famous example of Battlefield 4 campaign, like you're supposedly the leader of this squad of 3 people. You'd never speak. So this is a completely opposite end of the spectrum on this one. It actually really knew me well because I recognise the guy voice and I realised it's Ben Browder from Farscape. Although a lot of people listening to this podcast probably won't know what Farscape is. Anyway, the online mode's good, but I've noticed a lot of people have a tendency to vote this one specific map called Combine. I actually played it like 5 times before I could find another. I also found like a lot of people are really quite skilled, and if you get caught in the open, you're going to be dead in seconds. And I like that point you get there, you get killed 5 times where you just spawn and get killed. It's really quite irritating. On a final note on this, I've had fun playing the zombie mode, but I wouldn't recommend playing it by yourself. You need friends to like complete it properly. I think you've got to cover all the windows, etc. I think it's definitely worth a play with people like that, especially if it's not going to drop much. Call of Duty games generally don't drop much lower than £30, so it's not going to get much cheaper. So if you're going to get it, the time is now.
Yeah, as well. That's my Call of Duty. I don't know.
Anyway, so second game, FIFA 16. Always playing FIFA. It's one of those games I think you can play all year round. I've been playing my career mode a lot recently with my Portsmouth team, and I'm planning to take them to the top of Europe, where I'm going to dominate Barcelona. I've also recently upped the difficulty because, as you FIFA fans out there will know, the difficulty world class on FIFA 16 was ridiculously hard. So I searched online and found a forum that gave you like tips on how to adjust your difficulty settings. So you go on the main menu, you go customize my FIFA, then you can just change how quickly, how well the AI control the ball, etc. And even though it does make it easier, it's still challenging. And I've recently upped the difficulty even more to get me close to the original world class settings, and teams are scoring against me more now. We've also got a pro clubs with James is a proud member of called Barney Park Rangers, which is doing okay. We recently got relegated to Division 2 after 3 seasons in the top flight. The major problem I've got with this mode is that you can't set up your team tactically in the detail you can in career mode, and I think like your AI can leave you really exposed if they're on a bad day, which they seem to have fluctuating form, which you can't understand because they're AI. Anyway, I think a lot of people think that FIFA is just an EA cash grab and it doesn't need to be released every year, but I actually think it's one of the most cost-effective games out there. It's got like so much repeat playtime. It says you've got hundreds of hours of gameplay, and you can play it all year round. So it's essentially like a £40 annual subscription fee, which I think is a fair enough deal. Finally, Helldivers, which is one of the new PS Plus free games for February. I haven't played much of it so far, so I can't tell a lot, but it seems to be like a great co-op game. Me and James have been playing it. I don't know much about the story, but essentially you're trying to dominate the galaxy by killing bugs, cyborgs, and these things called Illuminati. It's actually surprisingly deep with like a progression system. You can upgrade your weapons, upgrade these things called stratagems, which is essentially stuff like putting a UAV up in the air, having like metal detectors you can search for unexploded ordnance underneath stuff. You have like your ship and you drop in from orbit and go and complete all these different missions. It's great to get it now because it's free. It's like £10. So those are my games. James, you got anything more to add?
I've got a couple of questions on two of the games specifically, and admittedly I've played both of them. First one, Call of Duty. I've only played one part of the campaign, which I played with Milky, and but I've also seen reviews that say the campaign is actually quite mental, quite warped. Do you see that at all, or do you actually?
I mean, they're mental and warped. I mean, yeah, there are moments when you guys like having hallucinations, if that's what you mean, but that's not unseen in Call of Duty games, like especially like in earlier Black Ops games. I think like the main character is like imagining the character that's with him for like the entirety of the campaign.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I guess so, because it's the first time like you've got this thing called like a DNI in your head, which basically like a computer, sort of like in Terminator, and you get your like chip gets like corrupted, and you start having like visions of like when you're like in this building, there's suddenly like a snowstorm blowing in that's not really there. I guess if that's what you mean by warped, then yeah, I guess.
Now the other one is FIFA. Now they updated FIFA, as we both know, they apparently improved the referees.
Yes.
Now we played FIFA yesterday against each other, but after you went, I played some more matches, and this morning I've played some more matches. The referees have gone worse. They are fucking bollocks. Delafeu who gets fouled in the box every time, and I get nothing for it.
Well, originally you see they've gone from one extreme to the other, because originally like you just get a penalty for everything, and now you can't get a penalty very often at all.
Apparently teams get penalties against me quite easily.
Well, I think the major problem with referees is that it seems like the AI you're going against can get away with a lot more fouls than you can, and that when you're on the ball, like if you like click circle, which is like tough tackle, strong challenge, whatever. Like if you can touch it, that's a foul. I mean, so what's the point of having the button?
True. Cost effective, you say about FIFA, and I agree. I also think Call of Duty can be cost effective if you play it, the way that we play FIFA. But the obviously you see Football Manager as well, which has the same criticism. They all say, oh, you could update it every year. Do you think though that pro clubs and stuff would be better though if they integrated the same sort of updates into it? Because pro clubs is the same every time. And
yeah, pro clubs haven't been updated in years.
But Pro Evolution Soccer now have a free play version, which is a bit like Ultimate Team / Pro Clubs. Do you think that those ones should be out there? Do you think PES are taking a step the way that FIFA will take? Or do you think
they've got them. I think EA seems to be more listening to fan feedback now, because I mean they finally, even though it's ridiculously flawed, like the individual training system on career mode, that was one of the most fan requested components. And also, what do they ask? Like pre-season tournaments as well. And though there are problems with these things, actually pre-season tournaments probably are right. It's actually incredibly useful for teams like when you're being fortunate, because you can get millions more, like 2 or 3 more million into your transfer budget, which is massive for a League 2 club.
It does remind me though of Football Manager though, where you get this pre-season tournament that you get into, and then you just don't play it. You just skip it.
You can just skip it.
On Football Manager, I'm like, I'll let the assistant do the friendlies, get into the season, and lose to Norwich in the first game. They're like, shit.
Well, I found I do, when I'm a lower league club with these friendly seasons, I do them because I want the maximum amount of money I can get.
Yeah, which for Portsmouth is one thing. For Liverpool in the
yeah. Well, we're getting off tangent on here because we're actually talking. You actually asked me, should pro clubs be updated, which it definitely needs to. So I mean, we're going to talk about this in an in-depth podcast soon. But basically, you can't do team management. One of the major things we have online is they decide that the player roles, people who take the corners, take the free kicks, is always the person with the best attribute for that specific thing. So the person with the most highest free kick accuracy gets to take all the free kicks, but that doesn't mean that individual person can actually take free kicks properly. I mean, like you need to have a designated person on each of your teams who what they're good at, and I think you can't do that at the moment. It all needs to be updated. You also need to be able to like decide how your AI plays, just because they're not actual human people. You still need to be able to tell them, to be able to give them instructions, like in Cremo, like get into the box for a cross, etc., things like that.
Fair point given there. With pro clubs, I think that FIFA is one of those things that year by year it improves anyway. And I think it would take huge.
I think you could argue it's improving too slowly at the moment.
I do wonder though, yeah, but I wonder how much you can take it further without, like, I mean, the goalkeeper's already impossible for Jefferson Montero to score past for me. So, that's realistic enough because he doesn't really score.
Anyway, let's not go too into FIFA because
do you have any questions? Do you have any questions on the other games there?
Not really, to be honest. I think I've heard most of them. Apart from Mario Kart 8, but I'm not really interested in that. I played Mario Kart before, wasn't like hugely into it.
What about CTR? Were you into?
Sorry, say that again.
What about CTR? Did you ever play much of that? Yeah, like the PlayStation version.
No.
So you're just not a big racer.
No.
That's fair enough.
So should we end there?
I'm not a big racer. I think Drive Club is superb. But beyond that, I don't play racing games nearly pretty much at all. So
at the end of this very long tangent, you've been listening to James and Jack, the questionably intelligent, sometimes relevant podcasters. If you want to get more from us, go to sometimesrelevantblog.wordpress.com. Thanks and goodbye.
I've answered one question.
What are the questions that?
Video games. Jack hates driving video games.
He does hate driving video games.
That's the question that everyone needed to know. But thanks for